Hey, you guys, thanks for listening in of this episode of Tips with T. On today, I have my good friend with us, Miss Charise Harris, but I call her Kiki. So thank you, Miss Kiki, for being on the show today. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you do.
Well, thanks. Thank you, Tiara, for having me. I love the nicknames. How your name is Tiara, but I call you TT. And again, yes, my name is Charise. So I work with business credit. I'm coming from the banking financial area world, and I do a lot with helping business owners be able to scale their business so that they can really understand what assets mean and bringing money, using liabilities to bring money into their company.
Awesome. So that's like one of the main things we're gonna be talking about today, guys, is business credit because it is important. So, Kiki, tell us what is business credit and why it is important.
Sure. So business credit basically is a way of allowing financial institutions to know that your business is trustworthy. It's important. So business credit is basically saying you can trust this business with your money. And it's important for two reasons. One is so when you, as the business owner, is in a position that you're ready to scale your business, make more money, you're in a, what's the word? You're basically in position to be able to go to a financial institution and get money so that you can then use that to scale, whether it's in the form of a credit card, line of credit, a business loan. And one of the most important gems is as a person, when you go to financial institutions looking for money, you're really considered a liability,
Mhm.
right? But as a business owner, banks see you as a opportunity.
Mhm.
So you're able to go into the bank, the same person as if you went in on your own looking for personal credit. If you go in as a business owner, you're basically seen more as an opportunity, and it allows you to be in a position to get money when you need it and or when you want it so that you can scale your business and make more money.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I also, would say like, um, you want to have business credit, and the reason why it's important, so you won't have to utilize your personal credit for your business all the time. Um, and it's easier and it's quicker to build business credit than it might be with your personal credit. And then that way you can be able to keep, your personal things separate and then your business separate by establishing business credit. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves too much. But what are some like, let's talk about some of the first steps that we have to do in order before we can even establish business credit. So what are those first steps? What should they look like?
Yeah, so first you have to basically have a business set up,
Mhm.
which will include having an EIN number. You want to make sure that you are registered with your Secretary of State, also website, a business address, and a business bank account. So you want to basically set up the veil of owning a business,
Yeah.
which one will consider an LL register with the Secretary of State, regardless of how you file, business website, phone number, an address for your business, as well as a DUNS number in the bank account.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that too. Yeah, the DUNS number. That and then what's crazy, you guys, all this stuff basically is kind of completely free for you to set up, except for like getting the licenses that you need in order to be incorporated as far as the LLCs. But the EIN number is free, the DUNS number is free. Some bank accounts, depending on what type of business bank account you get, it's completely free depending on what bank you're gonna bank with. So those are pretty much kind of like the essentials of actually um, starting what you need to do before you actually start the business credit. So after we do those steps, what are the next steps, Kiki, to actually establish business credit?
Yeah, so once you get everything established, yes, you want to first start out with your tier one vendors. And tier one basically means vendor credit. It's where it does not require social security number at all. So you don't have to worry about what your personal credit score is. But there are companies that are called vendor credit. And vendor credit is where you are allowed to shop according to the budget that you're approved for. And within that budget, whatever you spend, you have between 30, 60, or 90 days to make your payments. So you want to start out with vendor credit. Number one, tier one. Tier one is considered, it's another word for vendor credit. And some of those companies are known as Uline, Quill, Granger, Summer Office Supplies, A2B Gas, things like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too, because like I've been looking at the different tier ones, because I've recently try to start getting into mine, and to mine building up my business credit. And I know another, like if you want to do a gas card, another tier one is like Fuel Man gas card and BP, you know, the Exxons, the different gas stations, they have their own fuel cards, and some of those are the basic ones that if you do apply directly to them, there are tier ones too as well. So what would you say are the tier two, and how can we get from tier one to tier two?
Yeah, sure. So tier two are what you consider retail credit. So retail credit or store credit.
Okay.
And so basically you want to make sure that you have at least the very bare minimum. You want to make sure that you have 3 pay experiences before you go to tier two. But I recommend having 2 months instead of 1 month. You can, after 1 month, within 30 days, you really can go to tier two, but I recommend having 2 months with a minimum of 3 lines of credit with 3 different vendors. So you can do 3 different vendors, and after your second month, you will then go to tier two. And basically what that means is, because the stronger your foundation is, then the more money you are then qualified for in the second tier. So if, for instance, if you have like for tier one, if you do Uline, and I'm not saying these are the ones, I'm just giving an example. If you take 3 trade lines you want to make sure 3 at bare minimum, 3 to 5. But because you want to make sure you pay them on time, you don't want to get more than you can afford. So make sure it's a minimum of 3, and 3 lines of credit with a minimum of 2 months. And so that way, when you go to tier two, it then it gives you a stronger approval of a higher rate.
And then another,
okay. Sure, go ahead.
Oh, and I was about to say, like, another tier one that I have recently learned about is Amazon Business. They actually allow you to do the tier ones with them, and that way you can do the net 30 invoices and bill, and everybody shops at Amazon. And it's not hard to get.
Absolutely, that is so true. And so the secret is your pay experience. So starting back with tier one, if you get approved, right? For instance, you have 3 credit lines that you was approved for, or vendor credit, should I say, to be correct. The 3 vendor credits, let's just say at minimum, you have $1,000, and it'll be more than 1,000, but just for bare minimum, if you have $1,000 that you are being approved for, what happens is, if you, 2 things these stores look for when they are approving you for credit is, 1, how much you was approved for, and then 2, your grade. So you want to make sure that grade A and grade B, you never want to be below a B. And so business credit is graded within letters. And A and B is basically telling the other vendors and any financial institution that you either paid A early or you paid on time. So then it looks like just what Tiara said, if you go to Amazon, if you, we also have some other retail, Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Staples, or some other tier two. But basically, when you you have 2 months of paying your vendor credit on time. Now you're going to Amazon and you're going to Target with A or B credit score, but then you're also saying, I was able to manage $5,000 and I've paid them on time.
Now, is it just 2 tiers, tier 1 and tier 2, or there are other tiers?
So there's one more tier, which is tier 3. And tier 3s are more of your credit cards. That's where you get into lines of credit. That's where you get into banks, like Bank of America. So tier 3 is where you're trying to get to. So tier 3 is your lines of credits and credit cards within either banks or credit card companies.
Oh, okay. Awesome. See, I was only thinking there was 2 tiers, you guys. So I learned something today. It's a tier 3. So in order to keep track and actually kind of know what to how to check your credit score, is a particular app called, is it Nav? Or
Yes.
Nav? Okay, because I know I pronounce certain words different. So tell us more about that app and how they can get it. I do know there's free versions, but they do have paid for versions too. So can you share about that app?
Yes, so nav.com is just like Tiara said. It's a place where you can go and basically keep track of your business credit. They actually also have a trade line. So there are different, there are different payment options. You do have the free, and the free account basically is just where you can go and manage your account. But then if you want to get into the paid accounts is basically where you're able to add a trade line. So there's one that's very popular. I do it personally. It's called Business Booster. And it's, I believe, $45, if I'm not mistaken. I do know that they have one for $35 and $45. Just make sure you go on that website to just check out that the prices are correct. But basically the different prices is you're literally getting a trade line and they report. The thing about Nav is they report to all 3 business credit bureaus. So which would be Duns and Bradstreet, which is the biggest one for business credit. Also Experian and what is TransUnion.
Awesome. Well, Ms. Charise, thank you so much for coming on and telling us all about business credit. And hopefully you guys, you will utilize it. It's very, very important. Like she said, I'm starting to get into it because I'm tired of using my personal credit for my business. I'm just so tired. I'm just ready to give my personal credit a break. So Ms. Charise, tell us, aka my Kiki, can you please tell us how our listeners can get in contact with you? I'm going to share the screen. So just tell them how they can get in contact with you if they would like to.
Yeah, sure. And I do want to say one thing real quick, if it's okay. I forgot to say this. As far as the business credit is concerned as well, guys, remember, I want to say remember because I didn't even say it in the beginning, is the good thing about what you're approved for. I know earlier, like I said, for instance, if you get approved for $5,000, the great thing about business credit is it shows how much you was approved for. But if you only use $25, that's fine, because what happens is your business credit, you're graded by the diversity, meaning how many credits how much you have. Like say for instance, if you're approved for 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, that adds up. So your business credit, what happened is on your business credit report, it looks like the total amount is what you was approved for and you paid it on time. So even if you're approved for 10,000, but you're saying, well, I don't have $10,000, I can't afford to spend 10,000. The great thing about that is your grade is going to come from how much you use and how much you pay back, but the total is still going to be there. But yes, to reach me, you can email me at info and then the @K as in kite, C as in cat, L as in Lassane, and then management.com. Or you can also reach me by phone. What's my phone number? 984. What does that say?
278-2608.
Yes. You can also reach me there as well. Or just for more information or to know more about me, you can also visit me at www.kclmanagement.com.
And you guys, if you need to get in contact with me, feel free to do so. My number is 910-317-0396. You can shoot me an email at contact@mjfinancial.biz. You can find this episode on Anchor, you guys. You can find this episode on the YouTube channel as well. And you can also visit the website, you guys, at www.mjfinancial.biz to schedule a consultation. If you have any questions or you need more insight about business credit and stuff, I'm willing to help you. Me and Miss Kiki is willing to help you. So feel free to reach out. So thank you once again, my Kiki, for being on the show today. I highly appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
It was. And all right, you guys, we will see you on the next episode of Tips with T.